I'm a intuitive psychic astrologer. I do cards, I can do oracles, but I love to use this the natal chart as a divination tool. It's really powerful and it gives you a lot of information. The natal chart as a divination. Okay. Sorry about that. I thought I had that all the way.
I know it was turned down the whole time. We must have little gremlins.
Okay. Yeah, there's more than little gremlins on a lunar eclipse, and it's a south node. Okay, so well, let me go back. Let's explain what an eclipse is. A lunar eclipse, right? We have the sun and the moon are opposing each other. See how, and we're in the middle. See how Diana's got a little graph here. So it blocks out it's darkening the moon, right? It looks dark. I don't know how to. I mean, all eclipses look dark. I don't know how to say this correctly. What am I saying?
The sun is behind the earth and the earth is casting the shadow onto the moon.
Onto the moon. Okay, so as that south, okay, let me explain this. A south node, which is the lunar part of the lunar eclipse, is hanging over here with the moon. The sun is in Aries. Okay, the moon is in Libra. This is why it's a oh my goodness, if my words would just work. Come on. Partial lunar eclipse in the sign of Libra. The moon is in Libra. The sun is in Aries. Okay, because we are in Aries season. We just started Aries during the spring equinox the last time we were here. Hi, everybody. So let's say what this is. Libra is about justice, fairness, balance, relationships. Right. I'm just going to give you the overall general until we get a little bit later. Aries rules the head, is I am, who am I, how am I, what am I doing, how to go forward, right? So as we have these two opposing each other and their cardinal signs, let me say that there's 4 cardinal signs in the zodiac, and they're the ones who start things. They go forward. They create a new way to do something, right? So here we are. What are we creating? Well, it's a south node. It's why do I keep missing it? Oh, I'm sorry. A lunar eclipse, a partial lunar eclipse in Libra. What we're doing is releasing all that doesn't serve, but we've been doing this for 2 years of plus. Diane and I have been saying this for this long of a time, right? We're releasing all that doesn't serve us, all the toxicity. This is for the collective too. Yes, individually, we all have Libra and Aries in our chart, but this is hitting humanity. This is big for all of us. We're all upgrading, but we can't upgrade like on the solar eclipse on April 8th until we release everything that has got to come out of us. A lot of things we just ignore. So this is the reason for eclipses. They come at you out of the blue. All of a sudden, you're sitting there dealing with something that you had no idea was even an issue, right? It's not to scare you. It's not to make you upset or sad. It's once you clear density and pain and trauma out of your energetic field, you can add in more of the things that you prefer. Bring in your wishes and your dreams and your hopes and your intentions, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that covers that part. Diana, what do you got on aspects? Or whatever.
Well, we have the sun in Aries, we have the moon in Libra, but you probably already know this. Whenever we have a full moon, it is in the sign that is opposite where the sun is. So those are the 2 factors that have to be in order to have a full moon.
Thank you.
This full moon, we because of the time of the year it is in the tilt and the north nodes are and the south node, we were in the shadow of the sun, casting the shadow onto the moon. And I was lucky enough this morning. I just woke up in just the nick of time and looked out my rear window upstairs, and the clouds had just parted, and I caught just a little of the shadow going over. It was short. It was 3 o'clock this morning, probably a couple minutes after that, but it was occurring at 3 o'clock with only 5 seconds of arc. So it was 3 a.m. Eastern time. So I got lucky. So we have so much going on in the sky because we have the Aries North Node at 15 degrees. Sun is at 5 degrees. Now, you know that sun day by day moves 1 degree. So in 10 days, it's going to be conjunct the North Node. So it's building up the strength all this time. Plus, nodes move backwards to the way the planets move. Planets move counterclockwise, the nodes move clockwise. So they are racing towards each other. Not the sun moves faster, but they are going towards each other. We also have Chiron in Aries, who is at 18 degrees. So Chiron is Aries here, retrograde. He's moving backwards a little bit. This North Node is moving backwards a little bit, and the sun is heading towards them. Perfect time for healing. But where do you make room for healing? In releasing. Releasing comes with the South Node. It is the one polar aspect that we all deal with in our charts on a regular basis. Whether it's the transiting, which means that's where it is at this time in space, or the one that's in your blueprint, in your chart. So the one that is in your chart is the one you live with every day. The one that is transiting throws aspects onto your chart and also throws aspects towards your own North Node and South Node. The North Node is the way forward. The South Node is the way out of it, what you need to let go of. So the healing that is so important with Chiron and Aries right now, connected to the sun, connected to the node, is the way that we're going to go forward. And we have, before too long, I mentioned this the last time we were all together, on April 1st, April Fool's Day, Mercury goes retrograde. So everything that you are paying attention to now, remember, this is all, you're going to get another opportunity to go over this because Mercury retrograde is going to go right into this again. Yes, Jean, are you raising your hand, honey?
I am. I didn't want to interrupt, but what would be some signs that people might be able to expect to see when they are going through a healing? What might them healing something look like?
That's a big question. Wow.
So often, don't you feel like this sudden ache and you pain and you wish and you want and you pray and it's like, oh, another day of this and another day of that. And then suddenly one day you've recuperated strength and you're moving forward and you might have a little setback, but it's nothing compared to where you were. And it's that recognition of the difference between where you were and where you are, even if it is a slight setback from the day before, but it's not as bad as where you were. So those are the things that indicate healing.
Can I say one thing about
absolutely.
that? For the South Node where we're releasing, where the moon is, because the moon's going to come up to, the nodes are always together, 15 degrees, South Node, 15 degree North Node. So I wanted to make that clear because they never stop. They're always together and they travel together, right? South Node is what you're a master in, but also on the other, on the things that you want to release that are no longer going forward with you. So that moon is probably right there at that south node right now. It's about 15 degrees. The sun's going to take longer because the sun is just a degree a day. But as that this at 3, I think it was 3:12 this morning, we had the eclipse. It was right on the 5 degrees, but at 2 degrees we have the super galactic center in Libra.
In
And
Libra.
that,
Oh, I forgot about that.
that is massive. That's like higher consciousness information coming into us as it's taken away what no longer serves us out of the south node, out into the super galactic center. I when you have the moon out there, to me, it's just like, please send it this way. Send it this way. Spirit saying, we'll take care of everything that's weighing you down. So here we go, right? We've gotten through pretty much most of the day, but
And
now go ahead.
and depending on where your planets are in your chart, it
Right.
may feel as though everything is crumbling, or it may feel as though you've been through this before. Why is this coming back again? Or it may feel as though all of this work I've been doing all of this time and I'm left with this. It may not look like, may look like you're going backwards, may look like you're revisiting some old issue, old pain, but that is just like the last hurrah for all of these things. They want to make sure all of these things are fully cleared out of our system and also fully understood on a spiritual level, that we have a new perspective and that we're not going to allow ego to pull us into that old story anymore. And this is what we want to let go of. So if you're in crisis, or if you're having doubts, or feeling like you're being pushed back rather than moving forward, this is temporary. This is will not last, and it's a way of shedding. We have to realize it and have it here in our awareness in order for us to shed this again. We know this is not what we want, but it's coming up again. Like what is going on? So please don't feel, if you're not having this joyous rejoicing and a spiritual expansion, that anything is different. It just depends on where your planets are in your natal chart, how this is going to look for you. And I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that it may look differently for different people.
Absolutely. And,
Right.
and remember, we all have all the planets in our chart. Where Libra is for me is different for Jean and Diana. But we know our chart, so we track it. But if you ever want to have a reading, if you're going through something really tough, please or reach out to somebody. At least reach out to us. There's so many readers, there's astrologers, and we're all here to help you. We really are, because an eclipse period, we have 2 a year. They help slough off all the stuff that's just got to go. But yet we'll come up to this solar eclipse and it brings in the blessings. It's still releasing though. Go ahead, Dinah. What were you going to say?
Well, I can use myself as an example, because I have, my Chiron is in Sagittarius. That's a trine to where my south node is in Libra. I'm sorry, to where the north node is, and my north node is in Aries, right? I'm one of those people who have an Aries Libra axis. So the Aries north node is just a little bit off of my Aries north node. The transiting Chiron is in Aries looking for healing. And my personal Chiron is in Sagittarius in trine to that healing. And I'm one of those lucky ones who now have the transiting south node sitting close to my south node on my rising sign. And I had this big healing for 2 days. I've had no pain. I have walked 2 miles without any pain. And for me, that's very big, because I'm an extremely active person. And for the past 2 years, I've been struggling. And so I just, like, now if I have a twinge, it's like that ain't nothing. I can deal with this. That
Right.
ain't nothing. I can deal with this.
It
So,
does do that to you
right.
too,
So,
doesn't it? It kind
right.
of just wears it out of you.
Right. So it's the supporting aspects that are created by the transiting planets that have aspects to your chart. As the transiting Chiron in Aries, who is all about getting healed and going forward because he's with the North Node and he's in Aries. I'm lucky I have my Chiron trining that. And so
Well,
that is
let's
boom.
explain Chiron. Okay, Chiron is with the North Node. It's called the wounded healer. This is the North Node. This is where the planets are now. So this is for the collective. That means the deepest wounds. We're healing some deep-seated, especially as a collective and individually. But it's actually really it's been there so long. It's sloughing it off. Right, the sun's about to go over top of it, and again in about 10 days, and that's really going to. I think we'll hear a lot of good things. Yeah,
Illuminate.
Illuminate. We're gonna have some good things coming through the news or just within, within our relationships, within who we speak to. It's Chiron is it's in everybody's chart and it needs to be looked at and dealt with. So if you don't know your Chiron, please reach out to an astrologer. It really does help you. I know I was in pain most of my life, physical, mental, emotional, for like 50 years till I figured out my Chiron wound. And once I got past my Chiron wound, I can sit here and pretty much go through eclipses without any pain. Even the last solar flares we had with it.
And don't you find it amazing, both of you, don't you find it amazing that you find that part in your body that this legend is all about? So yes. Chiron was the doctor of the universe, right? And he's a centaur. And Achilles was ticked off at Hercules because Hercules was having an affair with Achilles' wife. And he took his poisoned arrow and he went to shoot at Hercules and he missed. And he got Chiron in the thigh. And guess what's been troubled the most for me is my thighs, where my Chiron is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius controls the thighs. So there's parts of your body that can pick up on that legend and help you figure it out, which also helps you figure out past lives and what your journey has been and how many times have you experienced this and had that same wound come back to you in the next lifetime and the next lifetime, no matter where you are in the orb of time, because time is not a line. And when we come back from one life to the next, we're time hopping. We don't know where we're. There's no rhyme or reason. We don't have to pick the next generation. So, but my point really is knowing the stories, which are extremely interesting, helps you figure out why you feel that way. What is it that is irritating you? What's the pebble in your shoe? And then what's the story on Achilles? He stepped on the poison arrow himself, and that was his Achilles heel. I mean, that's where that whole thing comes from. So
astrology is fascinating. It is, because all these stories come from myths, from mythology. So, but so the moon is over there by herself with the South Node. And everything else is pretty much sitting in Pisces and Aries. Okay, the sun is in Aries because that's what's making this full moon. But we just got Mars at 1 degree of Pisces. Now, Mars, a lot of people will say, oh, he doesn't like to be there. But I think Mars does like to go there and play in imagination and dream world and create art or whatever he's going to do, because Mars is the doing part of our chart. Right? He's coming up to meet Venus and Saturn, who are together. Now, this is Venus's full moon because it's a Libra moon. She rules Libra, beauty, art, what you love, what you value, um, for the higher vibrations, right? So what don't a lot of the lower stuff would be like narcissistic relationships or people pleasing or just not giving yourself the the grace and ease and love that you deserve. Always giving, giving, giving. That's overdoing it in relationships. Let's put it that way. And so she's having a talk with Saturn about what she loves and values. And he's going to help her structure that into her next go round, right? Her next go through the year, zodiac wheel, because they're still all in Pisces with Neptune. Aries is already starting to move with the spring equinox. We have the sun there. We have the north node there, like Diana was saying, Chiron there, and Mercury. He's gone out ahead. He's getting all the information and communicating with everybody. That's what he does. He gets all the information out to everybody. But he's going further. Of course, on the first, he's going to stop and go retrograde. And that means we're just going to reassess. What have we gleaned so far, right? What is going on in our lives? How are we wanting to go forward? Can we do that? All these questions are going to come up because we have that solar eclipse on the 8th of April. And then on April 20th, this is another big thing. We have Uranus and Jupiter conjunct and on that day. And that's going to kind of give blessings to all of us who are working in from our heart, who are true to our hearts and our souls. And not to say that others won't get blessings, but they will. It is a blessing to get a challenge so you can uncover. To me, that's a blessing. Mm-hmm. I had so many things I had to uncover to find myself, but I mean, and through it all, I am so grateful for every moment of it. It just gets to that point after a while. But let's go back to Mars. He's at 1 degree Pisces, right next to a royal fixed star, Fomalhaut. And that's one of the 4 royal fixed stars at 2 degrees. So to me, that brings in that archangel vibe, that higher the higher beings. They're coming in, right? There's what is Fomalhaut's in Pisces? What's his story? Do you know that, Diana? I'm trying to remember it.
I don't know his whole story, so I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Go ahead.
Sum it up.
I'm going to sum it up. You go ahead. Oh, first, want to say hi to everybody?
Sure.
Probably is what I should do. Hi, Bora Bora. Thank you for being the first one here and watching the chat. Hi, Randy. Hi, Annie Bear.
I hope you got your car fixed, Randy.
Hi, Jenny Berlin. What a pretty name. Hi, Lori Hunsinger. And she's watching the chat too. Thank you so much. Hi, Esther G. Let's see. So nice to have everybody here. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Froxy Roxy. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Jackie. Aw. Soul Alchemy, Indigo Dragwire. Hi. Everybody's just so beautiful. It really does. I can feel your energy in the chats. Hi, Alice. Nice to see you. I don't know. How's everybody feeling? Hi, Cartomancy Mystique. How are you? Hi, Rossi.
Angela.
Wow. We have so many beautiful souls here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you. All right. Let us know how you're doing. If you have any questions or anything about anything, it's hard to do individual charts right here. But if you know or if you have a question about anything going on, if we can help you, we will.
It's an ever-changing time. It's an ever-moving time. It's an exciting time. It's a you know, for some people, it can be a rough time going back and rehashing all those old wounds. But it is really cleansing. It is only momentary. It's almost like a dream or a phantom of what used to be. It's not like you're actually going through the whole thing all over again. It's just all of the emotions and images or situations may creep back in, but it's really only momentary, and it's only for us to really finish clearing out the rest of it. I do know that there's a lot of emotions, a lot of difficulty with and stuck feelings and things like this. And I just want to make sure that we're, you know, I just want to make sure that you feel that you are supported, and we're not, you know, it's a whole gamut, but it's all emotional, and it's all of us are moving forward through all of this. And it's really it's I don't know how to, it's history in the making, I
Yeah.
think. And I feel as though we're going to look back on this time and we're going to say, you know, do you remember before 2024 what life was like? And do you remember after 2024 what life was like? And I feel this urgency, and there are so many, and I don't mean to say average or ordinary in a different, making you different, but the people that I see out in the public that come to me and they say, I've been having these dreams, and they're telling me exactly what my spirit guides are telling me. And I'm like, you are now aware and you are receiving information. And it's really, we're all really coming online. And what they want to do is to get rid of this human density, whatever that human egoic, you know, analytical mind, that density is what they're trying to ask us to let go, and to raise our density, and to raise our awareness. So we can't be aware of this information that is there for us if we're still holding on to some of those guilt feelings, or those revengeful feelings, or those grudgeful feelings, or those othering feelings. You know, it's and I know I'm just kind of saying the same thing over and over again, but it's really important just to sort of like maybe step back and see it for what it could be, and understand it's just a phase. It's just a cycle that's going through.
Right. Right now we're in, you know, Aries Libra. What is Libra about? It's about the balance, right? And so what this is what is so important, because it's the do-over. It's the new year for astrology, right? It's the astrological new year all the time. But next month we're going to be on the Taurus Scorpio axis, as far as the sun and the moon go. So, you know, then it's going to be different. So now that we are in this Aries take action, because Aries is about action, when we get to Taurus, it's going to be about, okay, now sit still for a little bit and figure it out. And this is where that Mercury, having gone retrograde, and by then we'll be going forward, that's your do-over. So any setback that I have now physically, I have kept a journal of the things that I have done on a daily basis to help promote better health, better gut health, better physical health, all the things that I've done. So that when we go into the retrograde phase, I'll be able to think back, oh, well, when that happened, I did this. So now I better go back to doing that to reconstruct and put more cement in that foundation of what I did back there that helped promote the healing. And that's what we all should do all the time, period, no matter what, you know, because we're always on a journey to heal.
Right. And that's what this whole, and well, like Jean said, this is epic. This is history in the making. We've been saying this for a couple of years. We're building up. We're building up. Here we are. We're here at the opening of the door, right? I mean, we're not that far through there at all. so many more surprises are coming in for us. I mean, we've never been here.
Mhm.
As I mean, for like 248 years, Pluto hasn't been in Aquarius. Here we are, living through that, experiencing that. It's all experiences. Now, for this Libra lunar eclipse, it's helping us release deep feelings of unworthiness. Like, this is like the stuff that comes up. I know I was up at 3 in the morning the last few nights feeling things. And it's like constantly, right? You feel it. We have the sun doing its thing, X class solar flares. It's just all, in my opinion, to help elevate humanity in frequency, because as we all rise up in frequency, we can all live in peace and harmony, Libra, together, you know. But
Mhm.
we have to clear all these things that aren't working. And the the life universe, or God, however you want to say it, has a way of clearing those things that aren't serving us anymore.
Well,
You
and
know,
so right now when we look at the chart, I have a lot of asteroids in here. So if you don't have them in, you wouldn't see all of this going on out here. You'll see the moon and this, but I have asteroids. But when you look at this area where we have most of the planets hanging out, from Pluto and Aquarius over here to, I want ending it at Sedna in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus. When we look at this is where all the personal stuff and even most of the long range stuff is, between Taurus and Aquarius, right? So that's Pisces, Aries, Taurus, and only this one little lonesome Pluto by himself over here. So when
yeah,
we
but
look at
Pluto,
something like this, we see a cradle, we see a bucket. Here's the handle at the moon and the south node, and it's swinging like a pendulum on a clock. And it's heavier down here where we need to do most of the work for the new beginning of this new astrological year.
right? And that's what that's what the eclipses do. They help us clear. It's clearing the old era. Think of it like this, because we started into a new era around equinox. This is the new era. This is transcendent. We're rising in vibration. And as we go through these eclipses, and each one has a different flavor. Okay, this is Libra, Aries. Okay, well, who am I? How am I treating other people? It's all connected. We're all connected. Libra will tell you that. We're all connected. Are we
Well,
connected in a healthy way? Go ahead.
Libra it rules the kidneys in the human body.
Mhm.
And the kidneys are something else we can't live without. One kidney is the fire and one kidney is the water. And that has to be a boiler in order to make your bladder function, in order to make that illumination function. And that is all part of the balance. So just as with the mind-heart connection, we need that in order for the body to stay alive. The mind dies, so does the heart stop ticking. If the heart stops ticking, the brain doesn't send signals anywhere. And if the kidneys fail, it's the same thing, because that boiler has to keep going in order to keep the mind going and in order to keep the heart going.
And you're saying the mind because Aries rules the head.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything without Aries, right? Going forward.
Yeah, right. But for sure. But we need the brain to keep the body moving, and we need the heart to keep the brain moving, to keep the body moving. And the kidneys do play just as big a role. So people who have to go on dialysis, if they don't, everything's going to shut down. Because when your kidneys shut down, the rest of the world stops functioning within the body.
Oh. So when we say Aries is where the sun is, how do you how do you see that during this eclipse?
Oh, well, this is the fresh beginning, right?
Right.
So because the Earth, for the lunar eclipse, because the Earth was between the sun and the moon, the shadow was being you can't see him,
Right.
not just because it was nighttime, but not just because it was nighttime, right? You can't see it because I'm sorry, yes, because it was nighttime, but he's casting a shadow here that is blocking out part of the illumination of the moon, which is giving us the secrets, right? We always think of the tarot card and the moon in the tarot as showing light on the secrets and the things that are hidden.
Mm-hmm.
So with that shadow, it's like, you better put on your glasses. You better look closer. You better make sure that that's really what it is, right? So when we have on April 8th, when we have the new moon eclipse, we're going to have the moon in between the sun and the earth. And it's the moon casting the shadow on the earth when we do it on April 8th. And that, again, is going to say, you can't see what's hidden because the shadow is being cast there.
Mm-hmm.
You better wait, get your glasses, get a magnifying glass, pay attention, take notes. It's just the nitty gritty, pay attention stuff, right? So one is the shadow work and the other one is the shadow work. I mean, they're the polarity of the two sides of a coin. Where does one side end and the other side begin? It's that north and south node, be it in your chart or be it just transiting through the sky. Where does one end and where does the next begin? Where is it really, when does the cold become warm? Well, it depends on what time of the year, because 46 degrees in the spring is a whole lot different than 46 degrees with no sun in the middle of the winter or in the late fall, you know?
I said that very same thing. If the sun was out and it was this hot, I mean, and it was this, I wouldn't be so freezing cold, but it's because there's no sun at this temperature that it feels so much colder, but it's the same temperature. So Lori was just sharing, and she said, today is truly a deep day for clearing for me, clearing for me. My heart has to be mending at a level, at a level that I have been needing for years. A healing sadness is almost overwhelming me today. So she's going through, she's feeling the full aspect of that.
Right.
And
Yes.
yeah. And this is like that final purging of all of that you will not have to deal with anymore. But you need to take a look at it in order for it to move out.
It's like the song "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend." You know,
I mean,
and
it's always
you grieve what you no longer grieve. You know, you grieve the pain, but that's okay because you're letting it go.
letting it go. That's what I'm saying. Like every night this week, well, geez, probably for 2 months, something has been coming up and coming, and I know it's coming up, and to release it. You know, like Diana writes her stuff down. She makes it a plan on her health wise. I write my stuff down emotionally, right? So to get it out, because when you write your emotions down, things are bothering you. I always found it helps me better if I write them down, discuss it with somebody. We're all different, right? So, and we're all going to encounter different things.
Yeah.
Lori,
And
whatever.
we do things to self-sabotage too, right?
Mm.
And it's me and my baby Jupiter at 1 degree who wants to do whatever. Well, right now Pluto is sitting on that 1 degree Jupiter. So when Mercury goes retrograde and I'm not paying attention to my Mercury, who's always telling me something, is Pluto going to say, go ahead, eat all the chocolate you want, make yourself sick again, you know? Or am I going to refer to my notes and say, no, you can't do that. That triggers.
And Annie Bear says at 7:36, Val, may I ask why my hands are so cold when I live lucidity or lucidly, sorry.
I think that's a physiological, a biological. I don't think it's.
Well, she's getting it. I think she's meaning that when she is getting a download, her hands get cold.
Oh, interesting.
That's interesting. Sometimes mine go numb.
My hands are cold a lot. Like right now, the surface of the skin is cold.
And again, like this access, this Libra Aries access is different in everybody's chart. And when we come on here, we try to explain it as a collective, as what's going for all of us. What does each sign mean? What does a lunar eclipse mean? To give you an idea, yeah, things are going to come up from the depths or out from left field. And it's possible, I'm not saying it's going to happen to everybody, but it's possible that we confront something.
This is why house placement is important, because the houses have flavor of the signs. Yeah. The first house belongs to Aries, but my first house is not Aries. My rising sign, and everybody here, your rising sign determines what is in your first house. So Libra is the rising sign for my chart. That puts Libra in the first house. So that steady looking for balance, that is a big part of what goes on in my first house, because it's Libra. And because it's Aries, the first house of Aries, my Libra has a big Aries flavor. And it just so happens to be, they are the opposites on the chart. They are a polar axis of their own. And because of that, it's like that inner battle. It's like, do I, don't I? I really want hot cross buns, but they don't make vegan, gluten-free hot cross buns. Where do I go get them? I gotta go make them.
And just psychically, what I was picking up for you, Annie Bear, is I felt like it was connected to your heart chakra. And I feel as though when you are doing, I don't know if it was lucidity, or I know I said the wrong word, lucidly perhaps, but what I feel is though when your heart chakra expands and you're putting all of your physical energetic feeling into your heart chakra, it's not going down to your hands because it's being used here. And that's kind of like I just felt it sort of go across my back and down my arms, and I felt like maybe you were using all of that energy, all of that frequency in your heart chakra to expand.
Beautifully said, Jean. Beautiful, yeah. Makes
awesome. Yes, Diana is amazing. Excellent chart reader.
And Ron, Unconditional Love is here. Nice to see you, Ron.
He's trying to reboot. His computer's having a minute, I guess. Giving him a little problem. Hi, Bora Bora. Thank you so much for. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Bora Bora.
Thank you, Bora Bora. She has all the ins and outs of going on. Well, as for aspects, I mean, there's so many going on, and I don't want to get everyone lost, in houses and stuff, but the houses do matter.
Yeah.
They're important in your personal chart, but that's as we go forward, right? This month we have a couple other things going on that as this eclipse goes through, right? Go through it.
Understatement, yeah.
Understatement.
Did you see that chart?
Well, we have Venus sextiling Uranus on the 28th, so that should be a good feeling. We're going to have leftovers that we have to take care of throughout the end of this month and through the beginning of April too.
Yeah.
The Mercury shift. And remember, you're going to feel it most on the day he stopped, the day before, the day he stops. Thank you, Rossi. And the next day after, because it's kind of like hang time. You've seen basketball players who jump so high and slam dunk it, and there's this hang time. They're just like in the air, not moving. How did they do that? But that's what happens when you shift gears. If you know how to drive a stick, when you push the clutch in, you got to shift the gear. You're not going anywhere unless it's downhill. If you're going uphill, you're just going to be backing up if you don't get gear. And then you still have to ease the foot off the clutch and put the gas on, turn on the throttle. So that's kind of what happens when it switches signs. Any planet switches signs, or any planet switches directions.
Yeah, it's just going to keep going on, right? We get through this eclipse season, then we always have one in the fall.
Yeah.
So what is it, Spirit, your team is guiding you into a certain trajectory, onto a certain path. But as they do that, they have to help us release. And as for ceremony, we could do a lot to help that, right? You burn a candle, you can write down everything that's, in your opinion, needs to go, right? Needs to be released. Burn that paper. So I put salt around. What do you do, Diana?
Well, salt is a big thing. I compost as well. And like what I should do right now is go get the pitchfork and flip it over, because we're getting into a new season, right? And so I should go over back there and start flipping it over. So pray it doesn't rain tomorrow, but it's supposed to pour. We'll see what happens.
What do you do, Jean? What do you do for relief?
I mostly do intention work. And I feel like it's important for us to recognize these cycles and these energies as we move forward, in order just to honor the cycle of our lives, of our humanity, of this human existence, and to make the most of it, and to make the connections with the planets around us. It really does give us a perspective, and it takes us out of our own ego and sees us as a whole in humanity, and what it means to be incarnated here on Earth at this time. Like, we think, oh, my job, oh, my car, oh, my kids, but really, like, take a different perspective, and look at it. It's amazing that your soul is in your body, having a human experience on this amazing, miraculous planet Earth. And it almost like, the other things are really important, and they'll be there when we're done, but just take the time to expand your awareness and take a look at that, and just allow that to sink in just a little bit. And it will help to raise your vibration. And the spirit guides and the loved ones on the other side tell me constantly, humans take themselves way too seriously. You have to lighten up. Don't carry the burdens of the world around with you. This is a joyous, miraculous, adventurous time for our souls to experience this world. And we're all walking around, I mean, it is hard. It is really hard when they say be happy, and we're like, but it's hard. But they want you to just lighten up a little bit and just sort of take a different perspective. Try not to take things so seriously. Try to allow things to roll off your back, and to just realize the miracle of what we are, and the information that's coming in that's reminding us of this, and the veil of forgetfulness or amnesia, or whatever you want to call it, is lifting, so that we can remember and see these things and be reminded of these things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Beautiful. I mean, and it's the truth, right? But our feelings are what make us human. Our feelings, though, are what make us drive ourselves crazy, right? Our feelings really go- we're like, what in the world? What is this? Oh, I had
Can
a
I
question.
answer what Harley asked about the
Um,
birth? Okay, so what I do when I read somebody's chart is if you don't have the time of birth, I put in noon and we go from there. The reason why I pick noon is because you have to decide what resonates with you. And noon is midday. You're up, you're moving around. How do you feel? What, the rising sign indicates the intimate you, what you do when you let your hair down with friends, who you tell your crabby stories to and stuff like that. And who you're not afraid to share some of the worst things with. And so because noon is a cognizant time of the day for most people, it's a good place to start. But it's still up to you. If it doesn't resonate with you, then I'll move it 2 hours forward or 2 hours back, because the rising sign changes every 2 hours and 15 minutes, roughly. So when we do it that way, you have to rectify what makes sense to you. Now, there are other astrologers who can go do the deep dive with your heart's fortune and all of that other stuff. But when you go to do that to rectify a chart, it's costly, but you still have to come up with dates. When you got married, when were children born, when did you graduate high school, blah, 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 so that they can put old charts together with all of that. And it still is up to you to decide if it resonates with you or not. So chances are you're a pretty good guess of what you're feeling when you're in your intimate head.
Well, I use a pendulum, and we work through it that way. So if it says 7:13, I see what that rising is, and we'll see if that matches you. So everybody goes differently. We have
I love this. Aaron, let's go shopping together.
I know Aaron. Randy is like she's I think she's going back to Arkansas, and
Randy is?
yeah, I think so.
Well,
After
her
her
car
car's
broke
fixed.
down.
Yeah, once her car's fixed. I love this name. It's a frequency. I just wanted to tell you I love your name. That's so cool.
And I love the mudra sitting there too.
Uh-huh. Hi, Karen Doyle. How are you? No more crabby stories.
Yeah, I'm getting itchy just thinking about it. No.
I know, right? So eclipses are destined events, right? They're destined. And this next eclipse is a solar eclipse, and it's in Aries, and it's on April 8th. And at the in between that 4 minutes that it's going to be an eclipse, apparently the dragon comet, I call it the dragon comet, not the demon comet or devil comet, because they want to put fear into it, because comets are bad luck. Well, that's not true. We've had some really cool comets come through these last 4 or 5 years that help evolve humanity. So
Dragon
to have a
right on.
comet, to have a comet come through that 4 minute window of an eclipse on the 8th of April, that is going to be just, I mean, epic. I can't say the word enough. But so to me, and what the information I'm getting about it is the dragons coming in. The dragons are bringing in their wisdom. I know they're already here, but this is a higher. I don't want to say like higher, lower, superior, better, or something like that. But frequency wise,
The higher self,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and
The check of ego is your higher self. You have to have an ego. We all need to have ego, or we don't get out of bed. But
yes.
when you're in your higher self, this is the gender of the last law of manifestation, the universal laws of manifestation. Gender is the last rule. It is the masculine and the feminine in the proper balance. And because of that, Valerie, and me a little bit, but Valerie came up with this idea of putting signs to the 12 universal laws.
Mm.
And the last sign is Libra,
Yeah.
because here we are again with the fire and the water, with the masculine fire and the feminine receptive water. And you have to have those two things in order to make the boiler work.
Mhm. I don't think it's going to knock Libra back. What it's doing is going to knock out anything in us that isn't, for Annie Bear's question here. She said, thank
Right.
you. So does
That-
this mean?
Right. This is like, okay, now we're ready to go forward. This is the opening, the segue into something new.
Yes, yes. And in the Libra, we need all the signs, right? But we need that Libra balanced and fair and just and not over committing. Like Libras can overcommit, right? It could go
Right.
too far.
Yes. And what's important, which I've showed before, and I don't have my phone, so I can't pull the picture up, but in 2023, it started in Washington State and it went down over through and into Texas and into the Gulf of Mexico through San Antonio. And this one is starting up in Maine, let's say, up in New England, and it's coming through and it's going to cross over in the same point in San Antonio, Texas, as it goes on down to Baja.
Val,
So-
you want to put that on?
Yeah, if you have it handy, that would be great. Because
there's-
when you look at that, you can see X marks the spot. You know, I mean, this is important.
And
If
this is
we
just
think
this
about
is-
what's going on, this is
That's-
important.
Yeah, this is so important. This is 27. Is this 2017 or 2013?
This
No,
is
that's
2023.
2023.
2023.
And this
So
is
the one-
2024.
Right. And
Yeah.
there's one from 2017 that makes it look like a big A going
Well,
through.
Oh,
That's when it went through Virginia.
Well, that right, because this one is today's eclipse is the bookend to the one in 2023. And
Yes.
next month's eclipse is the bookend to the one in 2017. And they are all, I mean, it means something, right? And we're all, most of us
Did you
here,
get-
psychics, we think about these things. What does it mean to you? What is it saying to you? Yeah, it's coming from Mexico, going northeast Maine. Yeah.
but the total is only right around in here and it moves away, right? Or is this the total all the way
No, that's
around?
the path. That's the path of the total eclipse.
Yeah.
So
See,
if you are
this
on
one-
that path, you will see the total eclipse.
Right.
Or well, you shouldn't look at it, but
Right.
you will be in the path of the total eclipse.
Right. So the eclipse is like over a part of the world, but because the world is a
Curved.
sphere and curved, right? It's exact in just a small area comparatively, right? But I mean, there's some big stuff going on. This is epic to me. This is saying because in astrology we have the North Node headed towards Neptune. Neptune represents spirit to me. As the North Node's going to spirit, that's saying we're switching to a higher consciousness society. That's the North Node. That's where we're headed. And that's just one of the things we're headed. But I'm using that as a very general statement because as we grow, as we these next few years, I mean, Diana and I've said this, I don't know how many times. We have not been here before, but now we're in new territory. We're exploring. We're trying to weigh this out. What does this mean? So we look for signs, right? We see, the X-class solar flare had a twin the other day. I didn't even know it could do that, right? So these things are to amp up the frequency, because as we raise in frequency, we can all live in peace and harmony. That is my biggest goal, and that's what I always see.
So if you looking at the graphs and the yellow lines, and then look up at the top, you'll see the moons or the crescent shape.
I
That is
just-
showing you how
I just figured that out. Figured that out, Diana. So if you could see 90% of the total eclipse
Yes.
here, if you live
Right.
in this region, or 90% of the eclipse here in this region, and then you would see 80% coverage of the sun here, or 80% coverage of the sun here, and then 70% and 60%. And this is this a NOAA, NOAH? I mean, I'm not sure where you got
Yeah,
this.
that's
Michael Zeifer, Great American Eclipse.
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm not okay.
But
Yeah,
see,
no.
it says the people in this region will be 90%, see 90% people in this region. So even you Seattleites over here will get 10%.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it affects all of us. It affects
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
world. It really does. And as we I like how what Kay said, the three eclipses make that Hebrew letter. I don't know how to say it.
Aleph.
Aleph, and for ox, huh? That is so cool. I mean, we're in epic times, and it's for us to dive in, dig in. Like, okay, just for instance, Diana's been doing a lot of the shows that she does on um, Elena, the Trods. I mean, so much information you're putting through. Where is Diana? Did I
I'm
lose
right,
her? Oh,
Harley.
She's
Thank you,
under the
okay.
here. I
Sorry.
can take this down. I can take this.
So,
Yeah.
so when I don't even know what I was saying. Like, and Jean is, I mean, she's always on YouTube doing her psychic medium stuff, and this dragon thing's been going on, and they've been coming in for such a long time. I'd say since 2012. Like, all this stuff started. It's just like one thing after another, but they're all connected. And as we each delve into the things that our spirit's calling us to do, we're each have a piece of the puzzle, right? So together, when we're together, especially when we're together and we got this beautiful energy going, everybody commenting, saying what it is, what are you releasing, or what do you feel's coming in? That's how we're going to get a better idea, I think. Go ahead.
Well, the only thing that I wanted to add is that what determines an eclipse is the nodes.
Yeah.
So
For everything.
in the middle of this year, no. I can't remember when they shift, but our next eclipses are going to come up in November. And it's good, right? Isn't it November 3rd or right around the election?
Yeah, the eclipses will be right around there, yes, but the nodes change in 2025, and so much stuff does. Okay, 2025 is really the spot where things change and humanity is lifting. We can all see it. We can feel it. Some of us see it, some of us know it, some of us are, getting certain hits on it. But 2025, we're all going to be able to, especially our higher consciousness, spiritual communities are going to be able to see how much we've changed, how much is going on. It's just so cool. I can't even, I don't know, it makes me so excited. And Crown Zone's going to be at the eclipse. Randy might be there. This is so cool in Arkansas. So, and I keep bringing up Arkansas because that's the largest crystal mine in the world, clear quartz crystal. That's charging that up. You know what I mean? It's making it so powerful. And to me, it's like in the middle of the country, right? The country that's struggling right now. It's there to lift it up, in my opinion. I don't know. How do you feel?
That's an interesting concept there, Val. That was really, really interesting. That's amazing that you picked up on that, and it would sort of regenerate or revitalize all of this land here, all of North America, and can you imagine if those things or the crystals in Arkansas were to almost come alive and have a higher frequency and almost generate a new energy source or a new frequency for all of us. I mean, that would be so amazing. The frequency that it would just kick out and the remembering.
You know, I can relate because
I think it's so
lots
cool.
of fabulous rocks here in Michigan, don't get me wrong. But Michigan is water. And I lived in Virginia for 30 years where I could go dig in my backyard and pull up quartz. And now I've come back to Michigan. When I first got here, I had to redevelop my sea legs. It wasn't the same as just coming to visit my family and then going back home to Virginia for the rest of the year, you know? So walking on crystal in Virginia was this aliveness that is so totally different with water. Water is this lucid, and it's boom, and it's, oh, here comes the wind, and now you got a tempest, and the waves are crashing, and the breeze is cold, and it's stirring up the water that is cold at the bottom. Where in Virginia, that's all just baking and rising, and that quartz energy is coming up. I had and I really miss it. I had a big medicine wheel in the backyard, and I had lined, it was 80-foot circumference, and I had lined the whole thing with quartz. Wow. I only brought one piece with me. It's huge, and I keep it at my back door, but I wish I could have brought it all. I couldn't put it in my car. I would have had to, rent a semi.
Yeah, it's like rocks are not, they're not light. They're expensive.
I know, I could barely lift the piece I got.
Oh my
Not
goodness.
true. I mean, it weighs about 25, 30 pounds, the piece I brought. So
it's so cool. So I live in Virginia, and I know what you're feeling. But
exactly. And you're close to the ocean, and you still feel. Because what's but broken up quartz?
Yeah, so is G. So G, you can feel it. But when I leave here, I know what you're saying. It feels very dense. Like if I go somewhere else.
Go to Luray Caverns or up to down to Roanoke to the caverns, or even over to Front Royal to the caverns. It's like, whew. And if you're ever in Virginia, go to Luray Caverns. It's amazing. They're beautiful. Fantastic place.
All right, Linda, this is like a lot of the stuff that is really going to be cleared out by January. and they wanted me to put your statement up because they want you to know that if you would go in your heart and focus on what you love and value and not the circus, it would just help your soul. I mean, I really want to cry. I feel like it really bothers you. And I get why. I do. They really want you to elevate yourself, to take yourself and really give yourself the freedom to be Linda without all that stuff going on in your head. I'm sorry. I know it used to bother the hell out of me. I know it. Go ahead.
It's the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do. Elevate, stay elevated above it. This is where you have to close down some of that reception.
Yeah.
And enhance your transmission. And what you want to transmit is your higher self. So here's your LF.
And there's our Aries, right? And our Libra, trying to balance out what is for my highest good.
Right. And there again, we're looking at a pole, right? Where does the masculine end and the feminine begin? Because we're warriors, girls. Gentlemen, we're all warriors, and we all have both masculine and feminine inside of us. It's seeking the balance between the two. I don't have to act like a man, to be a man when I need to be. You know, I don't have to look like a man to act like a man, is what I meant to say.
Right, right. And that's all. That's another thing that's been heavily focused on these last couple of years is the balancing of the divine masculine, divine feminine. Again, there goes the Libra in there. There's just, it's all connected. It's all connected. And it's just, we have so much to look forward to. And we're the ones creating it. We're the ones we've been waiting for. We're the ones at the front line, understanding there's something magnificent is going on, and we get to go forward in that energy in what way that makes our heart smile. You know,
Right. So
Does
it's calling
anyone-
upon our guides, right?
yeah, yin and yang. Yes, Harley. Is there any questions from anyone? I know we went a little bit over emotions and logic. Yes, Harley. It's a balance, right?
It's balance. It's a balance.
We appreciate you all so much, and we will be back here on April 8th.
Can I say, call in Elena the Trods before we go anywhere, before we
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So everybody, I want us all to just sit here for a minute, and I want us to start with some feet on the floor, if you can do that, and inhale, and we're going to take 3 breaths and hold them at the top. So inhale and exhale through your mouth. Inhale, hold, exhale. One last time. Inhale, hold, exhale. Elena of the Trods, reveal the trail. Even through shadows it doth prevail. Over the hill and through the dale, Elena of the Trods, reveal the trail. Weather-wide path or print left behind, as we push on forward, we need what we find.
Wow. I mean, that was perfect for what we're doing. Perfect. Thank you so much. That is beautiful. And we are on the path.
It's one of my bardic writings.
Diana's a bard. You're so lucky. You're blessed. Oh, Randy got chills. Harley said ladies are so lovely.
You are. My fellow cohorts here, thank you so much for having me all the time.
I love you. I love it. I love us together. I know it gets a little, the energy is like, whoo, we're trying to talk it out, but my goodness, we get through it. Is there anything you think we need to clarify, or are we good? What do you think, ladies?
I'm good.
Good. All right. We will see you on the next solar eclipse in Aries on April 8th.
And the new moon.
Take good care of yourselves.
Yes, this 2-week period, let me say that, thank you for saying that, Jean, is releasing, purging, letting go. Okay, it's every day. It just doesn't happen today. It's happened months before now, and it's going to continue to happen, but the eclipse will really expedite that. It's the word I couldn't look. I couldn't find the word. Expedite. Oh my God. So just know that it's there for you, and your guides are there, and they're there. If you ask, you will always be guided, and they can make it in grace and ease too. I always ask everything in grace and ease. But I love you all, and I hope to see you on April 8th. Till then, be safe. We love you.
Bye.